Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about a new palette from ColourPop. This is the All Amethyst palette. This is currently an Ulta exclusive. However, their Ulta exclusives almost always eventually become available on the ColourPop site. So I purchased this one myself from Ulta when I saw it because so many reasons. First of all, it's a new ColourPop palette, so I need to try it out. Also, it's purple. Purple is my favorite eyeshadow color. So really, I didn't have a choice. I'm not sure when this will be available on the ColourPop site, but I wanted to get this video out for you now, whether you have access to an Ulta and you already have access to this, or if you're one of my international friends and you won't be able to grab this until it comes to the ColourPop site. I just want to try and get the info out there for you ahead of time. If you are waiting for this to be available on the ColourPop site, then I do have an affiliate code. It will save you 10% on most purchases that you make directly from the ColourPop site. That code is just Amanda. Obviously it won't work at Ulta, but if you're waiting for this to come to the ColourPop site, then you can always use my code to save a couple bucks. Now, when I was grabbing this All Amethyst palette, I noticed these two Super Shock shadows that I didn't already have in my collection. So let's take a look at these two Super Shock shadows first. Now, I can't be 100% certain that these are absolutely new shades because I just don't have as wide of a memory of all the Super Shocks as I do of the palettes. But these are definitely in new packaging that coordinate with the All Amethyst and Of Quartz palettes. And this packaging is really cute. You can see here that these are definitely meant to pair with the palettes. And I'm hoping that when these come to the ColourPop site, that may mean that there will be more pieces, like some lips or cheeks or something in the collection too. I always love that. Now, the All Amethyst coordinating Super Shock is called Dream Much. It is marked as an ultra glitter. I feel like they just put that formula name on every Super Shock now, so I don't even know what it means anymore. Mine did come a little bit broken. It's super easy to fix them. It's really not a big deal. It doesn't affect the performance. I have a video about that I'll link down in the description for you if you want some more info. The Super Shock that coordinates with the Of Quartz palette is called Deck. It's this really cool sort of silvery gunmetal gray color. I really like it. It goes well with the palette, and the special outer packaging is really cute too. All around, I love Super Shock shadows, and I love when there are coordinating Super Shocks within a larger collection. I just think it adds so much fun and texture to every collection. And as you can see here, this one's also called an Ultra Glitter, but once you see them applied to my arm in swatch, they don't look like the same formula. So I don't know why they keep putting this Ultra Glitter label on everything. I think Deck is a lot more like their original Ultra Metallics, and Dream Much is just softer, more glittery, more of like a topper type of shade almost. Now let's talk about the All Amethyst palette. This one is priced at $14 US. We're going to take a close-up look at the packaging, the shades. I'm going to show you swatches, comparisons, a tutorial. We have a lot. There's a lot to go through. So let's dive into this palette now. The theming on the All Amethyst palette is very, very similar to the Of Quartz palette. I do think that these are meant to be, I don't know what you want to call it, sisters, besties. They definitely seem like they go together. As usual, the difference between the box and the actual packaging is that the box has the ingredients list where the actual palette doesn't. But the cover art and everything looks exactly the same. It's this really rich, purpley, geode look. And you can see the shade names on the back. No eye safety warnings. I always love to see that. This palette is the cardboard packaging. There is no mirror inside, and this does have a magnetic closure. Inside, you'll see the shade names next to the pans with these cute little sparkly details. This palette has 4 matte shades, 4 shimmers, and 1 matte with glitter. No press glitters in here, you know I love to see that. And I scoured that tiny print on the back. It looks like some of the shades may contain carmine. It's not listed among the regular ingredients, but for my vegan friends and my carmine sensitive friends, it may contain. I don't think that it's going to be highly concentrated just based on this color story, but it's always something to be aware of because your eye health is important. And just sort of a side-by-side here with bestie palettes, the All Amethyst does have the larger pans just like the Of Quartz palette, so these are magnetic. You could swap them around if you wanted to. Now let's look at some finger and brush swatches of this palette. As always, finger swatches are on top and brush swatches are directly below. That way you can see what these shadows look like with a couple different application methods. Here are the finger swatches on top, and each corresponding shade is brush swatched below. It's pretty noticeable here that the brush swatches look nicer than the finger swatches, in my opinion, especially that last shade, Royal Affair. I do find the formula overall here to be not so great. The Of Quartz palette, formula-wise, was way more impressive to me, both in swatch and actually in use on the eye. So I don't really know what's up with that. Next up, let's do a couple of comparisons. I just did a handful for this palette, but I think I chose the ones that are the most requested. I posted some swatches of this palette on my Instagram, so I took a lot of comparison suggestions there, as I often do, so make sure you follow Makeup.Just.For.Fun on Instagram if you want to see things first and give me a little bit of input for my videos. I always appreciate that. So let's do the All Amethyst palette comparisons now. This Huda Rose Quartz palette is the only non-ColourPop palette that I'm comparing with today, and as you can see here, this is a pretty darn good match. All of the shades aren't one for one, but it's similar color story. It would definitely give you similar looks, and the Rose Quartz palette has a much more impressive formula, just in my opinion, one girl's opinion. I'm going to compare to a couple of the purpley ColourPop palettes now. These were very requested on my Instagram post. First, we have Locket Down. I think this is a good companion palette, but the purples in here are so warm. They look pink compared to All Amethyst. And overall, the Locket Down palette is just a whole lot lighter in tone. Next up, we have the Lilac You a Lot palette. This is one of my favorites from the brand, and I do think that, you know, there are some similar vibes here, but Lilac You a Lot is just a little more saturated, a little more color forward, and of course there are some warmer tones in here as well compared to All Amethyst, but I have to say that Lilac You a Lot and this one we're going to look at now, It's My Pleasure, I much prefer formula-wise. I know that It's My Pleasure looks all streaky here. It's because I've done so many comparisons on this arm that my poor arm was just starting to get over wiped and shriveled up. But color story wise, It's My Pleasure, again, a lot warmer tones than All Amethyst. Next up, I want to show you these shadows in action, and instead of just voicing over the steps of the tutorial, I'm going to give you a little roundup of my thoughts on this palette. That way you can see them in action and hear my thoughts. Hopefully we can keep this video a little shorter. When it comes to the theme and the color story of this All Amethyst palette, I really wanted to love it. I do think that ColourPop needs a more cool toned purple palette. As you saw from the comparisons, a lot of their purpley palettes are very warm, very pinky, and I think that people are really wanting this more bluish purple, blurple if you will, type of color paired with some neutral undertones. This gray is really cool. I like the idea here. I just don't understand why the formula is so lackluster. You can see here I'm struggling to build up, and these are the darkest colors. I'm using the same brushes, the same primers. I have used every ColourPop palette. I know how they're supposed to perform, and this is just not adding up. I can't build up the metallics to be really bright and shiny and give me that sort of juicy spotlight eye. The mattes, they blended out okay, but they just turned so patchy. Even these deepest shades were a struggle for me, and typically I can get an instant impact. I don't understand why this fell so flat for me, especially after being so impressed by the Of Quartz palette performance. You can see here the shadows already disappearing from my eyes. I have just been sitting in this chair. There is no reason for these not to stack up performance-wise for me. I have used thousands of ColourPop shadows. There is no reason for me to feel the need to use a glitter glue or something like that just for a simple metallic shade. This was so surprising to me because even though I think my overall eye look turned out okay, it just wasn't what I was expecting. It's not that typical ColourPop quality that I know and love. And I gotta admit, I'm pretty sad. I'm pretty disappointed because I wanted to love this. You know me, I'm a purple fiend and I wanted to be obsessed and I just wasn't. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about this palette. Are you interested? Have you already grabbed it from Ulta? Are you waiting for it to come to ColourPop? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Palette, and it's currently only an I'm an adult. Well, that's not helpful. Was that weird? Probably. Oh my goodness. Then you can use I'm fine. That was rough. That was rough. But we did it. We made it. We're here. We made it to the end together. Well, I made it to the end. And if you're watching this, then you did too. But there's a bunch of people who didn't. They skipped straight to the comparisons and then they clicked off. Which is fine. Whatever. Whatever you need. Okay, I'm gonna go do some editing. Thanks for watching. I love each and every one of your beautiful little faces. You're so special to me and I'm glad you're here, and I just love your face so much. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.